Nowadays, there's a lot of talk about modesty, but why is it something that women, particularly Christian women, should partake in? In short, practicing modesty allows for us to honor and respect not only ourselves, but those around us. And I do want to preface this by saying two things. The first is that this video is not meant to be condemning. It is meant to be enlightening and to offer you a different perspective. The second thing is that this is not about responsibility or lack thereof on behalf of men. Because sure, we can place the responsibility to be modest on men and say that maybe they should be exercising more self-control, but that leaves us evading primary responsibility as women. And I'll add here that men do have a responsibility to be modest, but I'm a woman, so I will only be speaking about women in this video. Now, when we talk about modesty, we are not just talking about the way that we dress. We're talking about the way we speak, the way we behave, the way we carry ourselves, and of course, the way we dress. But modesty is a lifestyle practice, not just what we physically wear. Although most of what we talk about in this video is going to be about the way that we present ourselves physically with our choices of clothing. So here are 5 lessons that I've learned about modesty with the help and conviction of the Holy Spirit, which has been able to convict me and help me to just realize these things. Do I think that it can benefit everyone? Absolutely. But don't take it as an act of self-righteousness. This is just a thought out and well-intentioned message, of course, always sent with love. And what you do with it is completely up to you. So why is it good to practice dressing modestly? As already mentioned, reason number 1, modesty is honoring of self. How so? Well, it communicates to others that you love yourself enough to not offer everything on display. Particularly for the Christian woman, we're not offering the things that are supposed to be reserved for only the eyes of our husband. It's honoring ourselves and others by eliminating offenses that may arise as a result of choosing to dress immodestly. Additionally, it's honoring of everyone of the opposite sex, as I'm also taking steps to not assist in leading a man into lust. Because again, while men can be led to lust by their own actions, their own heart intentions, I just don't wish to contribute to that action by doing something as simple as not taking accountability for the way that I dress and present myself on a daily basis. On the same token of modesty being honoring of self, it also protects us from attracting the wrong type of people, specifically speaking here about men. It's true that what we put out and how we display ourselves determines what we attract. When we dress immodestly, men can see that. And it takes much of the focus off of what we would want them to notice or pay attention to about us, and it throws all of the attention to our bodies. So while we may be gentle and compassionate or warm and inviting, very intelligent, all that a man will see initially is your body. And whether we subconsciously or consciously do this, they will approach you with a primary intention of gaining access to your body. Now, of course, we can't count on a man to come out and say, "Hey, I'm here because you look good." He'll strike up a conversation, but that man will come to you as a result of your clothing choice for that particular day, and it will be completely different than the type of individual who would approach you on a day when you may be dressed more modestly or more covered up. It's a practice that places a shield around you to protect you from people who intend to cause you harm or only have intentions to use your body. So by covering up, we protect ourselves from ill-intentioned people. And again, we continue to honor ourselves. Number 2 may sting a little bit, but modesty is also honoring of others. Yes, how we dress can signify whether or not we respect and honor other people. I will never forget the instances in which I was dressed immodestly in the presence of children. And looking back, I think I did feel awkward, but I also felt in a way that I was communicating to these children that my choice of clothing was appropriate for whatever setting we were in. And arguably, it was appropriate for another setting, just not the one that I was in with children. What we do when we dress modestly is we communicate to other people that we respect them. We prevent wandering eyes of men, which again is their responsibility, but we would not want to partake in helping another person to fall. For example, if you are dieting, you should not bring brownies in your house. Why? Seeing the brownies may lead you to actually wanting the brownies, and you may actually end up eating them, although you had no intentions to do so. So maybe a man has no real intention of viewing you in that way, but seeing you dressed immodestly will ignite lust in a weaker man, even if he is striving to do better. So, sure, it's not your fault, but you would also not want to take steps to help that person to fall into sin. But going back to modesty being honoring of others, I am not meaning to say that dressing modestly is meant to make you change who you are, to make people more comfortable. It's all about influence. It's all about setting an example. And it's all about being respectful to the environment. So modesty actually sets the example for those we may unknowingly or knowingly influence. And it prevents us from, again, causing other people to stumble. So even if you're not a Christian, it can be beneficial because, again, do you really intend to make other people uncomfortable, to make men lust after you, or set inappropriate examples for those that may be watching you, young women perhaps, who look up to you? And this causes your physical attributes to be the primary thing that other people notice when they see you. Is that really what you want? Number 3 is that modesty exudes maturity. This is the first time in my life that I don't feel the need to wear clothes that cling to my body to be fashionable or attractive. Modesty has allowed me to mature in my fashion choices and my mentality. It's allowed me to creatively express my sense of style while also presenting myself in an appropriate light. It's allowed me to admit to myself that I've grown so much. And as a result of that growth, I have been able to let go of previously constructed ideas of what's attractive in certain fashion choices. And that, of course, has led me to a point of actually understanding my body frame and learning how to dress in a way that's still flattering to my body, but also not revealing more than I intend to, as a result of just following influenced forms of fashion. It allows me to feel comfortable in my clothes without always having to adjust my dress or pull up my shirt to adjust the amount of cleavage that may be escaping from my shirt. But also, full transparency, I'm a mom now, and I have no intention to look like the young single woman that I once was. There was a time and a place. And I believe that dressing modestly has made me more of a physical representation of Christ and has positioned me to be taken seriously in other opportunities that have been presented to me to represent God. Number 4, dressing modestly has challenged me to think about style more creatively. I can only speak for myself when I say this, but my previous mindset for approaching fashion was, if it fit me in a flattering way, then it was fashionable. I had no real sense of personal style or identity. It was just, was it sexy? Was it snug? And could I pull it off to turn heads? And the way my clothes fit does still influence my style, just not in the way that it used to. Whereas I used to focus on trends that will attract the male gaze, I now focus on what it is that I like and exploring new ways to wear the same clothes that I already have. Finding ways to express my style while still maintaining covering over my body. And finally, the 5th reason that I prefer to dress modestly is because it wards off the weirdos. This is true for both men and women. Obviously, dressing more modestly has me in a place of protection from ill-intentioned men, but also from women who may dress and behave immodestly. And it's no shade to anyone, but I prefer to attract people who have that same mentality as me in this category. Again, the way that we present ourselves does set us up for what it is that we attract. And in my experience, any man or woman who wanted to befriend me because of the way that I dressed immodestly has not served me well. Typically, although not always, the type of men that you attract would be strange men with one intention. And the type of women that you attract are typically the women who are insecure, or maybe they haven't healed to the same level of where I am now. And I know this because I was once that woman. I never did have the level of understanding of just how important what I choose to wear was to my day-to-day interactions. And while I used to be able to, I can no longer deny the fact that modesty is a form of protection and respect for self.